Welcome back, everybody, to the ESL Challenger League Season 47 European Division. My name is Yumi. I'll be your host and one of your casters for this evening, alongside Grimmy Renard, who typically I'm on that side of the screen alongside a different fellow. So it's lovely for you to join me and give me a breath of fresh air. How you doing, Grimmy?
A breath of fresh air. Oh, you wouldn't want tea time hearing that. But no, I'm doing well. We've spent coincidentally the majority of the day together, but and you know that's pained me deeply. But no, I'm doing very well. I was actually thinking about this morning. We've known each other for so long, and we've obviously been in very similar circles because of UKCS and whatnot. But I'm actually not sure we've ever been on a broadcast before. We've been on interviews together, but never a broadcast. So I think today was the first day we ever did, and we really dived into it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting a lot of exposure to each other, but we've been very well exposed to the ESL Challenger League as well as the season has developed. We're into our playoffs. We have the breakdown of how things have kind of gone together as we've moved through all the different stages. Let's remind everybody at home how the groups sort of panned out and give us a good illustration of how they were segmented. We had 6 teams that fight off against each other through a round robin system, and the main objective was to make sure that you weren't within the bottom 2.
Yeah, which to be honest doesn't sound too hard, and I think you do get a lot of lenience when it comes to ESL Challenger. Like, even if you are within that bottom 2, it's like, well, guess what? You've got a relegation where you can actually then make it from the relegation back into ESL Challenger. So I think for me, there aren't like loads of surprise. Actually, no, sorry, like Apex not making it, for instance. Like, it's a hard group, you know, they're demoted. You have Para not making it, but the group we want to be focusing on the most today is Group C, because both the teams we have today in our matchup were from that group.
Damn, you can't go spoiling the surprise, but you're absolutely right.
I mean, what do you mean?
Oh, look at all these teams that we don't care about. But the reason we're focusing on Group C is for that exact reason. This is how things panned out. We have the top 2 teams go into the high-seeded playoff bracket, or the high-seeded group, I guess, out of the normal group stage. And then we have the middle-seeded teams being brazylijski and Rebels, which is where we're going to be focusing a lot of our attention, because when we actually dive into how the bracket has developed and how these teams have been doing, so far, so good. I mean, we started the season with 3 Polish teams, and there are still 2 Polish teams that are in contention for a potential path to Pro League.
Yeah, I mean, Polish CS has a theme sometimes just to utterly take over, like Counter-Strike at tier 2 sometimes. Like, you look left, Polish team. Look right, Polish team. And today, anywhere you look, it's going to be Polish Counter-Strike. And from our perspective, we've got Rebels, who are the Polish team right now. They are the main team. Obviously, kind of ignoring Ents, because I think there's a different level of standings. But we've got Rebels, the team, they made it to a Katowice. And they actually did well. I think they'd made 3 Katowice, something like that. And this was the first time that they actually won not only a map but a series. They won 2 of them. They beat Cloud9 in the best of 1, if I'm not mistaken. Just pulling it off the top of my head, they made it out of the play-in stage, and because of that, they bolstered their rankings. They've even been invited to ESL Challenger Melbourne, which for them is a huge opportunity, which comes in like a few days.
Yeah, the way that we have the ESL Challenger League structured is we have a group stage, and we go into this secondary group stage to effectively find out how the players are going to round out. And it turned out Group C was actually fairly stacked. I mean, both Sinners and Aurora that topped their group went into that high group and have secured a spot within playoffs. So yeah, when we punch back into these Polish squads, I do agree. It's the fact we have these contenders, these budding players that are still in contention, and the big thing is making it all the way through this group somehow, either via the lower bracket, like the Rebels and brazylijski find themselves as a result of losing some of those opening round games, while Force and Monty, one of them is going to make it very swiftly into that lower bracket of those playoffs, because we have 10 teams that have this potential path to Pro League. And getting to those playoffs is important, because even though only the top 2 teams from this season will go directly into Pro League, there is a 3rd spot that is up for grabs via the conference invite that the remaining 8 teams behind them have a chance to vie for.
That is something that I wasn't actually, I didn't even realize. But yeah, so it adds, in these tournaments, sometimes there aren't many spots to be aiming for, and there's so many teams aiming for like that one coveted spot. But I think it's actually quite manageable. Like for both of these squads, it's not an easy journey, but I think it's a very, it's a journey that's possible. Like you can get through to playoffs. You can at least make a run, which is going to always help on your HLTV rankings. Like, I think if I am Rebels or brazylijski lose, I'm not aiming to win this, but I'm aiming to do damage, and I'm aiming to put myself higher on the European standing. Because again, they're all HLTV games. They're all against good teams in their own rights with high rankings. So there's so much you can take away from this. But as I said, it's a very long road ahead. But there's also a very clear path. We're going to take a look at the schedule now to see what games we have going on right now, not only on this stream, but also the A stream.
Yeah, we're the B stream, which is usually standing for the best stream.
Bad boys.
Yeah,
okay. We went way two different ways there.
we had completely divergent thoughts. But on the A stream, TSM versus Sangal, also the mid seed for how these playoffs are going to develop. That's also another stream that you can check out. But stick with us. This Polish derby is something that could be quite interesting, because you're saying from the perspective of brazylijski lose, Rebels are this accomplished team that have been able to play at Katowice's. They've been able to get some surprising wins over teams outside of their usual range of ranking or oppositions. And for brazylijski lose, if they think about how that group stage went, they beat the Rebels the last time they encountered them.
You're not wrong. That is fundamentally correct. The only kind of asterisk over that is that I think it was you can see when they played, SNX was he already left the squad, and this was before Innocent had joined, so it was actually Spero stepping in. And so like obviously there's kind of the asterisk there of, look, you don't have your IGL, your coach is playing, who is a player, but it isn't active, so you don't know how we don't know how much he's playing. So it's still a win for brazylijski lose. It was really close, and I'm thinking now with Rebels, with their refined, better roster, is that close loss going to become quite a dominant win?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about those rosters. They're here for now people to understand what we're talking about, but you're highlighting a very important fact. The fact that SNX was out, the transition now for Innocent coming in, because when they were playing with Spiro as the coach, that's not really your in-game leader, but it's a guy that's supposed to mirror some of your philosophies. On the side of brazylijski lose, this is going to be a very different looking Rebels to the last time they encountered them. Innocent, an extremely experienced player that, one, Spiro is very familiar with. It played basically his whole career with this guy from 2014. I remember looking through some of the previous teams they played together on, from ESC to G2 to Kingwin to Dobrian Gaming. I'm not going to pretend like I know too much about them. to CSGO Lounge from way back in the day, back when they seemed to have a team together. And at the end of their tenure, before Spiro started to make that transition, on Anonymous as well. So it's a guy they're very familiar with. I don't think the integration period is going to take too long. He's already been able to put some solid reps in with the squad already. So as much as brazylijski lose, I think they actually have some solid potential. And they're kind of in the spot that the Rebels were when they first got their break to make it to one of those Katowices in 2023. In that they're all players that are relatively inexperienced that are trying to put Polish Counter-Strike back on the map.
Yeah, I think what Rebels did under their many names was they were doing very well at qualifying from these Polish divisions. Like, they played a Pro League, they played 2 or 3 Katowices. The only players still left actually are Olymp and Casey. I'm right in that? I think I am. Yes. And now, so you've already got these players who recently have had a lot of refinement, but I think pulling on the point we had from brazylijski being like the challenges, again, you look at this roster, you look at a Spero and Innocent, you look at these two players who were once renowned to be the Polish players that did have some breakout moments with AGO back in 2018. You look up to them and you're like, okay, are we at that level yet? And if you believe you are, then that's how you're going to win. But Yumi, we've got the veto to discuss coming on the screen now.
Yeah, having this veto available to us, I mean, there's no real surprises in the way that the veto kind of pans out with them encountering each other previously in that group stage. And even with Spiro in place, it was very clear that the Rebels wanted to dodge out on Overpass, and they continued to be the case. But brazylijski lose, that at one point or another, we're actually banning out Inferno quite frequently and have kind of allowed that through where Rebels are going to snap right into it. So maybe preying on a potential weakness in that first map, and then we have Mirage and Ancient as our decider games, with which honestly both teams are relatively satisfied by.
Yeah, I think there is obviously that somewhat even playing field when you do look at like a Mirage, for instance. Brazil, again, as you said, they're very similar to the last vetoes. The only difference being that Ancient was not, yeah, so Inferno was picked in. Sorry, I'm getting the maps mixed up. Yeah, no, sorry, that Inferno was picked in. And I think what's interesting is seeing an Ancient decider there. If I'm Rebels, I'm like, okay, we won Ancient last time, and now we have a different map that obviously the opponents are not too comfortable on. So we've got a real position to, at a minimum, do it 2-1. But then when we look over to a Mirage, it's like, hold on a second, that was a triple overtime last time we played on it. Again, we were playing with our coach. So I think if you're Rebels, you're very confident, and I think this is a really strong squad that I'm looking at this as like a small litmus test to be like, ESL Melbourne, ESL Challenger Melbourne, how are they going to do there? But Yumi, I hear we have our predictions on hand.
Yeah, we made these before the game, and we made these before we understood what the vetoes were going to be. And I did pick Rebels at the start simply because they're more of a known quantity to me. I have faith in the idea of like Spiro and Innocent as that sort of power combo, sort of commanding all the puppets and sort of dispelling all of their information downward into these younger players. But to be honest, with the way that the veto has gone, after just looking as well at some of the losses for Rebels on Inferno, even with them picking into it, I'm a little concerned with that prediction for myself.
There is, yeah, like after that whole spiel I just did, there is like looking at some of these maps on a finer detail. I'm like, should I have maybe said that? But I don't know. I think you are a turncoat, and you're not believing in Rebels. You're there with the Brazilian chill. You're there with the cool kids. I'm out here with the veterans. I'm out here with Rebels. Look, they haven't had, across the 13 games they've played on Mirage and Inferno, sure, they've won 3 of them. It happens. Like, whatever, right? No, not even 13. 12 of them. But I still I still think there's a chance. But we've got a player to watch, and that player is from the Rebels side. Yumi, take it away.
Yeah, Flay. We're going to look at Flay quite heavily. I mean, a pretty young guy when he started playing with the likes of Innocent on Anonymous once upon a time. I mean, that was a few years ago, but now developing and actually finding himself on this Rebels core. He's looked sound, and he's looked like he's continuing to develop, and having these experienced players with him will only help him sort of grow and mold.
For sure, yeah.
I think this is a good player that we can focus on, because brazylijski kind of have like a very well-rounded roster in terms of like the impact players have.
I think, yeah, overall, when you take a look at a roster like Rebels, you're looking more at the players that are like Flay, Kissarak, and I think Innocent still has it in him to perform, but maybe KC, even at like Katowice leading up to it, not the best performance. Olymp kind of in there in the same in the same theme, but I think when you look at Flay, like you do have some expectation over him, whereas on brazylijski Luz, it's like, okay, you've got Swiss, Virtuoso, Lusu, is that what we were deciding on? Closu. Yeah, like you have a lot more well-rounded firepower, but I will say for the brazylijski Luz side, Polo with the AWPA having a 0.96 rating in this event across quite a wide variety of maps is something that doesn't quite sit well with me.
Yeah, I think there was a period where we accepted the fact that AWPers were going to struggle in the transition to CS2, but we are way past that now, and I think some teams have started to make the appropriate changes. I don't know if that's something that's in the future, or whether Polo's going to be able to find form on this brazylijski side, but you'd really hope so, considering he's had opportunities in some of these bigger organizations within either the Polish region or just that sort of dart around from region to region. I remember him on Singularity and then Illuminar towards the end of that. And since being on brazylijski Luz, still struggling to find his feet. So I do share those concerns. I think for me, the interesting team here is Rebels, mainly from the perspective of they had stuck together as a team and grinded to get to where they are with such a consistent roster, like a core 3 players, while they still had SNX, that now that they've understood that they have sort of plateaued or not continued to develop, then they're starting to field players from other walks of life. Whether it's experienced players or other prospects within their domestic scene. So for me, I don't know if this is the right time to look at the Rebels, but I do think they're undergoing a metamorphosis before our eyes in the ESL Challenger League.
Okay, yeah, I can understand where you're coming with that from, and I think you do sometimes have an issue of like, look, it's really cool that Innocent's being brought on because he does bring so much experience. Like you cannot overstate that, but maybe it's best not to fall back on that one player that's been around the same circuit for a long period of time. Like maybe it's better to look for those newer players. Maybe that's Innocent not being the best pick.
I mean, just if we're going to draw comparisons, I think that was one of the big criticisms when we looked back at like Virtus Pro, where they started to have their I guess descent from greatness, that they would basically not have found themselves in some of these lower tier rosters. It took them a couple of years to I guess inspire themselves to hunt for that. So in a way, I'm actually happy to see Innocent on here. But at the same time, it's not just Polish Counter-Strike that looks to, older players for in-game leaders. Snacks in-game leading on Gamer Legion these days, had to basically make his own mark and figure out how he wanted to in-game lead.
Yeah.
And now is on a team that's vying for tier 1 opportunities. So it has its pros, it has its cons, but I think it's nice that the Polish scene hasn't stagnated in the same way that these players are going to sort of distribute their knowledge.
Yeah, I think there's a really interesting thing that I can't remember who I spoke to about. It might have been Kriaz, where he was like, "We've gone from a scene that we only like." So the theme of Virtus Pro, so that kind of era of Counter-Strike, we only had teams picking up older players. Now we only have teams picking up younger players, and it's just kind of that interesting thing. And you know what? Rebels have gone, we're actually going to go with the guy. We're going to go with Sperrer's boy. Like they've been together for so long. But I have the voices in my head hearing that the game is going to be going live. So I'm really excited to be getting into it. Inferno is the first map. There's not a lot to talk about this because brazylijski Luz, not really any experience on it whatsoever. You look over to the Rebel side, they have 3 games, and I don't think those are games that they'd want us to talk about because they have been really quite bad with the fact that they just, not great.
Yeah, it's not been pretty. It's not been pretty in their run-ins, but this is supposed to be a punish pick, so yeah, I'm kind of hoping that Rebels have something concocted. They've been able to cook up a storm, or maybe all the food's rotten and everyone's going to leave dissatisfied. Maybe a bit of food poisoning. I'll leave you a bad Yelp review.
Yeah. What's also interesting, so I actually kind of noticed there when we were talking about this, Ancient looking at the veto, that's the final map, right? brazylijski Luz actually beat NIP on Ancient. Obviously, that kind of name doesn't have as much weight as it.
Yeah.
Weight, because like obviously it's not the same. But like that was an open qualifier. That was a best of one. I think that's still a team that is like, if you're a team like brazylijski Luz, you beat them and you're like, that's still a really good result for us because they still have, Wrinkle, they still have Rez, Alex, and like Max is a very good player in his own right. So it's still a very good squad to be beating, but just obviously doesn't have the connotations it once might have had.
Yeah, I think even that Ancient, if you think about Rebels, who they've beat in the Challenger League itself, I mean, they lost to Sinners in a very close game, but they beat Monty quite convincingly. And sure, it's a different looking Monty with some younger academy pieces, and, they're trying to find their feet, but beating Bait, pretty legitimate. Aurora as well, quite close. And they beat brazylijski Luz as well when they played them last on it. So if we end up on that third map, that'll be a big question, but there's a lot to be accounted for when we dive into Inferno.
Yeah, I think Inferno is going to be something where we're learning alongside you guys at home, because it's going to be like, hey, firstly, what's brazylijski Luz going to look like? Because obviously they've practiced it. It's not their Instaban, so they obviously have been practicing in some regard. They've yet to be tested on it. Is this a crazy pick that brazylijski Luz have been keeping up their sleeves and go, haha, you've walked into my trap card. You've perfectly picked into this, and we've been waiting for someone to do it, and finally have Rebels done it? Or is that completely off the mark? But, Yumi, I'm hearing once again, we do have the game going live shortly. Inferno, I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean, an Inferno that is coming up very, very soon. I have concerns. I do have concerns, but I'm hoping that they are able to quell the fire in my heart that says that this was a potential mistake. So this is now going to be diving our first map.
Well, let's get it. Inferno, map number 1. Yumi, whoever loses this, if I'm not mistaken, is just straight eliminated, right? If you lose this, you're saying goodbye to any chance of you getting to Pro League whatsoever. Whoever wins this will go to the medium seed group lower final, where they'll face off against either TSM or Sangal, who are currently live over on the A stream. But you want to come and stay here because we're the bad boys on the best stream.
Yes, the mid-seed lower bracket game between these two poles that still remain is going to start very, very soon. It will be quickly underway. We end up on an Inferno that, to be honest, when we talk about vetoes, so often I like to sort of stagger it and sort of walk through it and try and think from their perspective. But I didn't anticipate that we'd be on this Inferno. I saw it as a punish pick, and I didn't really read into the fact that Rebels themselves hadn't looked too hot on it. But they're going to have to start on T side. They're going to have to impress, because you are absolutely right. This is a chance to go to Pro League, but in all those chances, no one's taking any chances. We're having a small technical issue that we're trying to iron out very quickly on the map. Yes, we are back. They're not sick and tired of our faces just yet, but they will be soon. I do promise. We're getting these engineers on it, and in fact, we're gonna let them work without us chattering in their ear. We're gonna go to a break, and when we're back, it'll be the first map in between this Polish bout.
ESL Challenger, they just have the best engineers. They've sorted out this problem very swiftly for us, and here we go, already into the action. Rebels Gaming, foot heavily on the pedal, rearing on towards this A-bomb site. Polo, he was a bit of a disturbance in towards apartments, does get dealt with, and now we leave ourselves into a 2 versus 2 post-plant for the Rebels side, and Flay, well, he's going searching. He's getting in towards the smoke, but he gets spotted. I don't know why they start shooting, but he's actually the one somehow to get the frag. Now, Virtuoso, all by himself, he's dropped Flay to 10 measly HP. It hits his head, bit of overkill there. The bomb, it's planted for Pit. Smoke will give him coverage, but Olymp succeeds in the 1 versus 1.
Yeah, a very tight bout in the end over on that bomb site. I'm surprised, like you said, Flay getting spammed like that, and somehow he gets away with a kill. That looked like a pretty make-or-break play, and even though he doesn't go for the play he thought he was going to, it still found them into an advantage. Just a little too much for Virtuoso to clamber back in for. Didn't have a kit available, and couldn't even get that smoke deployed before he had his head ripped clean off. A nice fast pistol there from the Rebels that finds them into an advantage. And I would say it's very well warranted, very necessary, but also answering back at the force buy. Polo's found a headshot, and they just run down mid. They don't let them get control over towards Banana. They're lined up for trades, but Kisarek, quick flank in from under. It's Polo, another headshot. We had some words that were slightly critical about his AWPing, but his scout work is right on point, and with Flay being tagged, this scout functions just like an AWP.
And even the 5-7, like, I'm pretty sure he has a P2K, I was going to say. That's already a one-shot. But Flay, a one-and-done position. He's not playing around. but he doesn't right now have the correct read on Polo. He's earnestly looking towards top banana, and also Polo underneath him. I was gonna say there's a world where he doesn't see him on top dark, but no, Polo, what a round. A 1 versus 2 at the end, but also a 3K. That was a round that brazylijski Lush should have always won, but it got a bit difficult.
Yeah, I mean, some really good decisions being made here from brazylijski to have found that opening aggression. Like they wanted to force those fights. They got the Molotov down. They sectioned off different parts of the map, and as soon as Polo found that frag, I mean, middle was open territory because of that. A player in at those T stairs was supposed to stop any players pressuring banana, but yeah, as soon as he dies, those banana players are too exposed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was 2 players with it. There was 2 players banana and 1 player ramp that was supposed to be, you know, somewhat mitigating the danger. Firstly, Polo actually got one of the kills with the scout, and then secondly, the other one was too panicky because of the util that's coming down from banana. So overall, a really nice round. And here, we've already started off with decent damage onto Innocent. The IGL takes a little bump from that grenade, and Rebels heading over towards the A bomb site where they found a lot of success in that pistol round.
I do always like domestic derbies. I think we got a chance to speak to Crad recently where he understood that when derbies happen, rounds get weird, they get messy.
Yeah.
And who knows?
This is weird.
It's all very random, but nice play to get into CT, but already watching out for it is Swizz. And there is a player right behind him, so a successful trade from Spawn. No wrapping play towards that B bomb site, but they're still going to accelerate to the mouth of B, close to getting down that smoke. Flay cheating past it with his teammate. Now plays alone. And a 1-on-3 was a big ass. Closely just runs him down and gets the upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, Swizz already, just what a great round. He gets both players well in library. He does kind of bait one of his teams in so he can get that second kill onto Kisserect. I also want to highlight Prism. Even though they had the information right, they were pretty much 95% certain it was going towards B because of the wrap and the evacuation of noise and individuals from brackets. But Prism stays in pit and actually catches out, I want to say it was Olymp who was in apartments, who was trying to get cheeky with a frag. So that's just another layer of that round where very well played. And Polo, we're up against an eco, but that's a very nice shot on the Flay, saying, you highlighted him as the main AWPer? Well, I'm the main AWPer. Rifle player in this game.
Yeah, he started off quite hot. He's doing it with everything but AWP so far. If we had questions, Polo has answers. Aggro play here from Prism and a smoke that blooms at those steps. So no concept, no prospect of getting a trade right back. This is not an investment round from the Rebels. So they're still hoping that they can keep him honest, do a bit of damage, make them sweat a little. To win pistol and then brazylijski's answer with 2 consecutive rounds? Fine, that could happen. But 3 straight where you don't even really test it in the right ways could be quite dangerous. Nice tap from Virtuoso. And they're having no problems moving up these pistols. Finally, Innocent answers with 1D, but that will be all she wrote. The gun is a little too far for Prism to recover. I think they tried to ferry it over, but a little too late.
It's fine. I mean, and I don't think an MB9 is like the worst thing to have in a city side like this. Obviously, much worse. You've already got Polo back on the AWP. We've seen what he can do with the Scout, P2K, AK. Now, I think this is a good litmus test already. We have no Rebels AWP, so he has a lot of free range to do whatever he wants. I'm still, you know, question marks over Polo because of his stats. It's quite narrow-minded of me. But I think this is a really good start for him where he can get a good opening pick. He's going to go early towards the B bomb site. Flashbang's even better from Rebels. And Olymp, well, that's an instant advantage.
Yeah, Polo stuck around, hoped that nobody would peek off that flash and that he'd be able to recover from his blindness in time. It is brave. And maybe with the way that this game started for him, taking a risk where he needn't.
Yeah, overconfidence plaguing the best of us.
It can happen to you.
No, it does happen to me.
Yeah, no, it does to me as well.
Ooh, that is really lucky that he's able to get that frag, because Olymp, in the position he is, when you're boosted up, you actually do not get affected by the flashbang.
He kind of blooms behind that roof.
Yeah.
Good cover. But a very nice kill, like you said. Still 4-on-4. Closu being very wounded. He will not serve as much stopping power, but maybe coupled with a teammate, he can get extra mileage out of his HP.
He is.
Oh.
Ooh. Not a great flashbang, but maybe it does save his teammates' life. There's the second one. Innocent, caught off guard. Very obvious what they're going for now. Here, Rebels try come out of apartments. There's 3 players on this A bomb site, and Swizz starts off with a first. Quick trade, but a really nice boost over the smoke. You can see mileage already out of Closu, and he might even deny the bomb. He does run through the smoke. Okay, bomb does get planted. It's a little bit scary because he gets to clock his gun, but he gets a lot of mileage out of that 18 HP.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, maybe, you know, I'm plucking at hairs here, but Closu maybe should have been the one that got boosted up if that was to be the case, but he does get quite a lot out of a very little.
He gets 2 more kills out of it, right? Because he gets one of the kills in middle. He actually gets the kill on Innocent, and then is able to wrap around long. So, fair enough. I do exactly where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from. But like, yeah, probably shouldn't have been the high HP player boosted up. But he still wins the round, and getting 3 kills like that sets the tone. And for brazylijski as well, the fact that they lost the opener and were still able to convert in quite a dominant manner, you know, only 2 players stayed alive, but the means and way it happened, and the means of how it happened was quite dominant, I'd say.
Well, Rebels have to be quite annoyed at how this game has developed from winning pistol to 4 rounds straight, now losing. And they come in with Tech 9s and SMGs. They wanted to go for an Apps Pop last time. And it's looking like they might try and facilitate the same thing, but with some added pace. Meanwhile, brazylijski are clearing things over towards Banana, but I don't know that they'll have the same flash play or anything to disrupt what the Rebels seem to have planned.
You know, Innocent does have 2 flashes, so he potentially could just, you know, throw one towards B, but instead he's focusing wholeheartedly on this A bomb site. That's going to give Closu and Polo no need or no reason to rotate away. They're not actually on the bomb site. That's the one thing that scares me, but the motor smokes missed. Overextension from Swizz and Pit, and one by one, their HP is trickling down. The lives are trickling down. Virtuoso's trying his goddamn best. He's got the USP out, but finally felled by Innocent. 4 players there, Yumi. And now only 1 remains, Prism, from the B-bomb site.
And with recovered weapons, an AWP at long range like this, Innocent can start to hold down one of these positions. Casey just looking at the smoke, and it looked pretty well cooked. Missed moto smoke is not exactly what the doctor ordered there for the Rebels. It's not what they had planned at all, but it worked out wonderfully for Innocent to get a wrap going and find the critical kill on the bomb site itself.
Yeah, the fact that they missed that piece of utility, and I think what they get is just the fact that Swizz instantly swings from Pit. They are instantly able to clear so much space on both the Pit players and also the players that are coming from long. It was Virtuoso, I think, was the main staple of side. He's done really well to get a double and almost even a third, but unfortunately that wasn't to be. Now, brazylijski once again getting very aggressive early round. It's going to formulate with Swizz going 1 for 1 and a lot of damage onto Casey.
Yeah, Swizz, I mean, he'll be disappointed he didn't get 2 there, because Casey was not prepared for someone to be fighting and challenging in through mid. Swizz didn't even really want to fight. He wanted to try and sneak past close to the bottom side of ramp or mid. Just couldn't get there. So this is awkward now for the Rebels. They're still concerned about potential re-aggression. For Swizz to have done that by himself is somewhat of a red flag. Now they set their attention over towards Banana.
Right. Like, look at this. You have an MP9 on first oranges. You have an A1S who's going towards dark. So, should be no Molotov to flush him out there, because it's really hard to mollo dark. So, yeah, the mollo goes towards new box. But they've got no util. So, like, here it comes for Rebels, but there's absolutely nothing to actually displace the Rebels side coming through. The MP9 still is able to get 2. Prism giving some coverage from afar, but he's the one that's struggling. Now, just trying to stay alive. Nade placed at his feet. Innocent will finish him off. It's a 2 versus 2. Rebels, this could have been a lot more difficult, to be fair, if they hadn't dealt with Prism.
Yeah, absolutely. He tried to delay for as long as possible, and now even the AWP of Rebels striking in for a tag. Virtuoso down to 20 HP, which leaves it on Polo to try and prong back into this bomb site. They know that this AWP is sat over at those new boxes, but it's Flay that's just simply tucked himself away. Trying to let Innocent play first, but the Molotov forcing Flay out into the open, and Innocent, this veteran added to the Rebel squad in a 1-on-2, and they have no kit, they don't have time, and they never figured out where Innocent was, so he'll hound both of them down. Polo he would have gone down to the bomb, but he dies to Innocent's hands instead. All Innocent does is wait, and Rebels pull through.
And I guess that's why you pull in a veteran onto the team. There are obviously some question marks of like, well, he hasn't done it in a long time then, so is he going to be able to do it with Rebels? Apparently in this game, he's doing it. That is such a nice round where brazylijski lose. They have a hero play from the MP9, right? On first oranges, gets 2 from Klusu, right?
Yeah.
But Prism, what's he doing, man? Like, firstly, he doesn't have to swing, because if he just stayed there, there would have been some debacle of trying to clear him. He swings and just misses everything. Yeah. And then, like, tries to stay alive, but realistically in that position, like, they're going to hunt you down, so you have to try and make something work. Very unfortunate that Klusu's heroics actually don't formulate to anything.
Yeah, especially when they were working with so little on that B-bomb.
Yeah, no util. Imagine if they had like a flash.
Or a smoke, or anything to delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not pretty. They are not enthused. So Rebels this time getting free access to Banana. No forward pressure from brazylijski. But this game has been anything but chill, Brazilian or otherwise. Quick boost here for Prism. I'm sure there are smokes that are down on this bomb site, courtesy that T side, but they're happy to see what brazylijski had in store for them. No Molotov to really stop them access. They had a smoke at the mouth of B, and so now they just go for a re-execution, but there's extra reinforcements here for the CTs.
Yeah, Swizz is behind the smoke. I think he's going to try come out when contact's taken. That's exactly what's going to happen, but it's actually the MP5, 5-7 rather, of Prism that does so much work. He was boosted up, but because there was a smoke on the boost, he drops up. And brazylijski lose. Unfortunately, though, once again, we have an individual getting a multi-frag and no one else on that B bomb site being able to follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, I mean, Prism tried his best, really, but even with Swizz trying to play around that smoke and Rebels seemingly dropping their guard to a certain extent, a lot of damage done by that SMG, but not enough for an extra kill. And so in this 2-on-3, with no kit and no real foothold back into B, they concede this round. Rebels will be allowed to 4, and it was all about how much damage he could find towards the end. Tried to contain them, keep them close to that bomb, and it will cost KC his life. But Rebels are right back into the swing of things. They're finding access points onto these bomb sites, and they're finally finishing off on some of these rounds, because brazylijski, it looked like they had a complete momentum shift after they disrupted the second round. You know, Rebels win the pistol. We saw a nice streak from their CT efforts.
Yeah, that type of streak from brazylijski was one that could have got out of hand. Like, that's one where if they maybe won the one gun round they lost, for instance, that did break that streak, then I think you could definitely imagine it going a lot further. But Rebels, you know, they haven't built up quite the economy that you would have anticipated after 3 rounds in a row, and that does come on the back that they've saved 2 weapons in the last 2 rounds. Still, though, you know, you have Innocent on 4K. It's not the end of the world, and now you're up against an eco, so it's time to just make it a bit cleaner.
A little slow burner here for the Rebels. Good understanding of how the economy is shaping out, but Olim taking a risk, tried to bridge those smokes right into CT. He thought he could slip by unscathed and undetected, but he's very much detected. But they get caught with util in their hands, and Casey and Kisarek just barrel into this A play. Those 2 players last spotted over at B, they know it's clear, and Innocent even cutting out the rotate. So as much as Olymp may have kind of suicided his way into B, his information does help the Rebels make an informed decision.
Yeah. There's a world where those sort of mistakes do cost you rounds, or cost further damage, but to be fair, that wasn't the case. And Rebels, they reclaimed the lead after they won the pistol round. This is a big round, though.
To be honest, sorry,
yeah?
if I could just cut you off. To be honest, I think Olymp making that play, I see so many teams when they have an SMG actually not send that guy in first. So, you know, he doesn't get anything, but he does get the information that he's desperately hounding for. And
he does. And yeah, I think you're kind of on the money there. Like, that does... I've seen that more often. And I think it's very easy to critique it sometimes as well, because in that round, like, nothing really bad happens. But look at this aggression once again. Virtuoso just completely catching Kisrek off guard. These regional derbies, they can throw anything at you. And that's another example, just like, what's he doing there? That's the third time in 9 rounds they've done something like that.
Yeah, and they've been changing the way that they've been approaching those aggressive peaks. Just different angles, and so Rebels clear out the angles that they were done hard by last time, only for there to be a new one that rears its head. Nice counter kill from Olymp, though, on the B side of things. With a fresh smoke that's down, Prism has deterred them from advancing much further. Meanwhile, Swizz has taken up some mantle inside of the apartments, so extra foothold on the A bomb site, especially with things slowing down the B side of things. Rebels will have to start to be a little concerned that there could be even advanced pressure from these CTs, quick flank potential.
Because the way that Kisrek died, I don't think there was anyone that could have even observed a CT member going in deeper.
Yeah.
Even though, like, obviously you should get out if you get a kill like that very early on in the middle. Swizz, oh my god, there's 2 players behind him. How is he? Let's get rid of that. There's 2 players directly underneath him. Casey, though, finally will trade. I'm just surprised he was even able to get that kill in the first place. But now, the crosshairs on Polo. First shot miss. Second shot miss. There goes a third. Equally miss. And Rebels, they've got the bomb site and the round.
Oh, I'm sure he's even asking himself, how do I hit these banger shots on the scout? And now they're pressuring my site. I can't hit anything. But like, those were
shots where people were out in the open. Like, they weren't. I think obviously it wasn't easy shots, but they weren't hard shots.
Yeah, no, there have definitely been more difficult shots hit in all of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, they were bog standard AWP shots on the A bomb site.
Yeah,
those are he knows his positions. You can tell by the way he maneuvers around the bomb site, but he doesn't hit one.
Yeah, he read it perfectly. I mean, from his first fight to his second, he knew which fight was going to lead to an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, that's got to be an annoying one for himself. Well, Rebels do crack the case. Even with the potential of a player walking down towards second mid, flanking them over towards Banana, they reassert themselves in those apartments. And even with Casey getting caught, they find those trades quite quickly. They will not be pressed any further. You dare challenge through mid again, you might find that kill, but they've been finding some clever solutions to the problems that are developing.
Yeah. You dare? But no,
you won't win.
I really, well, so firstly, actually, before I make any other point, Poe's got a scout out, so he's going to get a 2k, kind of guaranteed. Look how scared they are of that mid-smoke now. Look, you could just tell Kisrek's like, okay, I'm clearing every corner, every single angle. But the issue with this constant aggression is, as I said, you're making them very acutely aware of everything. So when Swizz is also just completely by himself, you've got someone like Casey who's very aware that there could be something because of the aggression that's been put in other parts of the map. And now that's a very early advantage for Rebels.
Fast execution onto this A bomb site as well. We're going to try and pace up, but Virtuoso first kills clean, the second not so. And Polo cannot hit on the scout. No guarantees that you'll find those headshots, especially when you are being swarmed. And a little bit of body blocking here from Flay trying to punch in those digits. But brazylijski's, I mean, this will once again have to be a call to save. A 2-on-4 retaking that A bomb site with no util, not a chance.
After the first 4 rounds that brazylijski won, I've seen an inability to hold down an advantage when you get the opening kill in middle. I've seen both the A and the B bomb site quiver extremely easy, with both of the sites capitulating with not much pressure applied to them, and alongside that, no kills being brought out when they've been attacked. there's been no sense of fortification. Both sides have had 2 occasions that are very close memory where they've had people there and they've done nothing with it.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell they look a little fearful or a little uncertain about how they're going to position, but this is, again, not a map that brazylijski are playing or really want to play. The fact that Rebels, on their 0% win rates in recent months, decided to go this direction, this was going to be a punish pick, and you could certainly see why that could be the case. The only ways that they've found openers or have made Rebels uncomfortable has been these aggressive maneuvers, and that's probably why they keep going for it.
Yeah, and that's why Rebels, like that last round, are just so aware that something like that could happen. But here we enter the final round of the half. Could be 8-4. I think that would be a really good result, considering it was 4-1 at one stage for brazylijski. And Rebels, they're playing it slow. They're going to retake towards Banana. Clusu gets away, and if anything, wins out on that interaction because he's done so much damage to Olim. The grenade's not going to finish him off, but Innocent, oh my god, that's an unbelievable reaction from brazylijski. The utility that they've reinforced Banana with, where's that been all game?
Yeah, they haven't done this, actually. They haven't been taking aggressive Banana control. They haven't been throwing grenades at them, and so Rebels get a little complacent, a little content, and they get bombarded. Nice kills as well from Virtuoso. Bring it down to a 1-on-3 for Flay, and he'll get caught with a nade out. 5-7, some signs of life from brazylijski. Let's see how the second develops. You're watching the European ESL Challenger League Season 47, our mid-group as we find out who's on their path to playoffs or whether or not they're going to have a liftoff or not. Rebels picking into a map that they have a 0% win rate on, but also brazylijski do not play. That half ended up developing quite well for the Rebels, but some signs of life from brazylijski. Let's see what they can cook up on this T side. They were probably not anticipating to play a T side on Inferno, but here they stand. I hope they have I hope they have something in order.
Yeah. I actually really like this pistol setup from Rebels. You have a lovely smoke flash dually combo on the B bomb site for worst comes to worst. And then on A, they've equally got their utility and smokes when necessary to throw down. You can see Innocent's got his lined up, so as soon as they take contact, he'll be able to drop it to give himself space and a one-way to work with. This is awesome. Yeah, Rebels, a very stylistic round, and the A bomb site is going to be under attack. Casey, first contact from Pip, gets jiggled, doesn't get the first frag. There goes the utility, there goes the flashbangs, there goes the smokes. And there goes the A-bomb site, because in a whirlwind of frags, Virtuoso and Swizz, after they actually lost the first two picks, give a sharp rebuttal.
Yeah, I mean, great kills from Swizz, hounding down that player inside of pit, so concerned about dropping smokes that they weren't ready to draw their guns, and the Rebels get overran on that bomb site, so concerned about the creation of their protocol and getting it all in place, they just didn't realize they didn't have the time to implement it. They had a crossfire. They had a good setup. I agreed. You know, very passive play. They were ready to receive that hit. They didn't get caught by the flashes, but they caught headshots instead.
Yeah, no, I think, like, exactly what I was building up was actually their downfall. Like, if they just had their pistols up, then they probably would have won the round. They got the opening kills, and to be fair, I think Swizz just got a really quick double, so fair play to him. And all of a sudden, we're now in a position where brazylijski, they've won the second pistol. This is where they excelled last time, where they were able to add a few into the chamber early on. And even though Inferno was looking, from my perspective, more of a more one-sided than the 7-5 or 8-4 line scoreline would have showed, there's a part of me now where it's like, okay, that pissed around. Can brazylijski actually build momentum off this now?
Yeah, coming in on 7-5, I do agree. Rebels did have a bit of momentum built. But brazylijski love taking fights, and they will continue to succeed in finding those fights and winning them. Prism, nice double kill on that SMG, and it's these two hypermobile weapons that are now stuck like statues because they're both on 9 and 10 health respectively. I think they wanted to send it up towards Banana, but they're met by a whole flurry of utility. But the Rebels have pulled away from the A play in hopes that they can re-aggress.
It's good work. Oh, Innocent. Ooh, the timing just catches off Rebels, and well, that's round over. So as soon as you could tell that the bomb was maybe a little bit questioning of where they should go, they weren't fully committed to leaving the B, like the B site in general. As soon as they see, I think two, I don't know if they saw a third, but you know, the brazylijski squad, they saw a majority towards B, instantly head over towards A, and it's even worse that Rebels, if they were at least holding top Banana, they probably would have got a frag or two, but now they're in a position where they're just going to have to save these weapons they forced into. It's going to be an eco round next round with potentially some reinforcement, but most likely it's going to be 8-7 to brazylijski with them taking the advantage as we head into the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, a great call being made towards the end of this round, even though it develops quite nicely with those opening two kills. They get that information, and they don't wait around for the Rebels to mount some level of a rotate back onto the A-bomb site. So if I'm really picking hairs, probably shouldn't have planted Cold Zero. They probably could have planted, you know, in the Vino or the Sign, really open plant so that they could save inside a pit. That way they didn't have to spread out so much and maybe fall into a Rebels player that had somehow slipped the net, but that doesn't end up happening. The Rebels saved together on that B-bomb site, and they were not chased. There was no conscious effort made by the brazylijski side. Like you said, not expecting too much out of this follow-up round from the Rebels. Sure, they saved a scout and a couple of 5-7s, but haven't proven to be much of a threat. Didn't find much of anything in that prior round. Polo's creeping up closer mid, but the nade is a very good deterrent. Tanks a lot of damage for that.
Is there a world we're scared of this round? You know, you've got 2 players below 50 HP. There's a scout in play. There's 2 players with armor and a 5/7.
I don't think they're scared because they know they've got 2 Mac 10s that will run in.
Churn through.
Yeah, run in and just take space.
I mean, look, if Rebels get the right read, like, this is a very obvious fake, I think, from Polo. To be fair, that's actually a very good smoke because it means that there's no information if the players do want to go long. But the fact they've thrown these smokes so quickly after is very orchestrated of where they're going. Also, Coffin smoke has missed. There's no Coffin smoke, so Flay gets another tag off. Make it a 4th. Everyone's so dastardly low. Kisserect on the USP. He's the first to actually get a blow. They're so low. And now Olymp. It's his turn. The 257s, they're too far away to make any sort of help. And Swizz, even though he was already so low, he doesn't die. That's so unfortunate for the Rebels side.
Yeah, I felt like I was watching a Florida music video because everyone just kept on getting low and low and low. But
that's phenomenal.
It just didn't end up panning out. I mean, they're still leveraging that health quite well, and as much as Casey wanted to punish, simply cannot do enough. Maybe hoping that a weapon blows his way off that bomb, but round is done. Brazylijski dodge a bullet, because that Flay scout, with how low everybody was, things could have gone ugly quick.
It's just so unfortunate that he was tagging up individual people as well. Like, he hit 2 shots. It was the 3rd shot he hit in the round. And there was also 1 player got hit by nade. If he just hit one of them twice, like, that would have made the round so much easier. Because you don't want to be putting everyone low. You want to be killing one and then killing another. Like, your 5/7s would gamble suck towards A. So you only had the USPs on the back of the bomb site. If your 5/7s were there, then potentially you could have got some extra damage. But for Rebels, a very unfortunate round where, look, you weren't expecting something. It might hurt when you look back at how much damage you did, but this is the real meat and potatoes. You have your AWP out early to Flay. This is the first time we've ever seen him with the AWP in this game, and he might not get any early action because it looks like it's going to be towards B.
Good util exchange over towards the entrance, and these flashes that follow up. The blowing of the smoke for Olymp, coupled with the flash, does net him into a kill. Kisserek right behind him. A younger player that steps into the Rebels and has been quite electric, but only good for the first. Innocent, fully blind to those sandbags, was hoping that he could tuck and simply recover from his ailment, but not allowed. Bomb is still on those T steps, so while they do have access to B, they will have to wait quite some time before Swizz can link up and they can threaten this plant. But Rebels are firmly rooted on this A bomb site. They don't want it. They're just saying, plant, get this over with. We want to think about a future round.
Yeah, like, there was definitely a world where Innocent is able to trade out his teammates, but you just had a really good decisive... So, because the bout of utility you were mentioning, it favored Brazylijski. They were the ones that actually did damage. And Rebels, you know, the nade and the smoke was great, but I think there could have been a little bit more conjunction with how the 2 players fought, and maybe a little bit more decisiveness, actually pushing down and clearing those close angles. But instead, it was very isolated with Olymp, Innocent, and Kisserect all fighting 1 by 1, where Brazylijski, they at least had maybe a second person there to trade or add further damage. And also just Rebels being softened up slightly by the utility. I think when both Olymp and Kisserect actually took their fights, they were both 50 HP, for instance. And the flashbangs from Innocent seemingly just weren't good enough to clear the close angle. So not throwing them deep enough. And for Brazylijski, a big confidence round to be winning. They go to a 9th and also force Rebels on... I was going to say a low buy, but there's a world they buy into this and try force around the AWP and A1S.
Yeah, I don't think the fight towards Top Banana was ill-advised from Rebels, but it did feel uncoordinated.
I respected it.
It didn't feel very well coordinated. I think Kisserek tried to get over fast enough that he could swing with Olymp, but the nade had already sailed out of his hand and Kisserek wasn't in position.
Yeah.
It felt very on-the-fly to decision-making, and yeah, they just needed to be able to link up together. I do agree.
And here's the buy. They went for it. They just scrambled enough money, but Innocent, he's not great with the util. He's been placed over towards A this time, and it's actually Flay going towards B with the AWP.
Hoping this time that they don't get run over on B. We had a nice triple kill from Prism. He was the one that collected on all those frags when they contested last. And this time, just Prism walking through. I think caught in confidence, not expecting someone to be holding the other side of that smoke.
I think considering as well the amount of pressure that Rebels not only put on Banana last round, but also this round, I was going to say they actually, brazylijski did well by bleeding the utility. Rebels, if you look over to B, they don't have a huge amount left because they, over across the board, like they have 1 Molo left and 2 smokes because they did put a lot of effort to taking Banana. But it comes out in a successful manner because they've got that 1 kill. If Prism hadn't just given it to them, then I wouldn't be saying the same.
And they leave the responsibilities of B in the hands of the AWPer Flay. Everybody else stacked on that A bomb site. So it will be a 4-on-4 brawl when brazylijski start to make their move on this bomb site. They've got a lot of utility as well, but only 1 Molotov that can flush a player out. That's on Polo. Out in those apartments, and it's actually a Molotov that goes out to short, one that's coupled with Innocent, so it's actually off limits for the encroaching T side. They need to start barreling and taking up the spots over at Truck. They're trying to plant in the smoke, and Casey's there to deny a nade that blows it open, and they just shut down any prospect of a successful site take. Finally, we see Rebels on the CT board.
Look, Casey dies there at the end, but my man's done his work properly. I don't think his grenade quite meant to do what it did, in the sense that I don't think it was supposed to work as well as it did. Like, he completely blew open the smoke for both the bomb planter and the defender of the bomb planter. So he's able to clean both of them up, and what his teammates do well is they just clean up the rest of the round. Like, you have 4 players on that A bomb site, someone's coming out of apps, instantly died. The third player that actually did finally kill Casey is dealt with really nicely. That was coming up short. So for Rebels, a lovely round, start to finish. Now, can they do something similar? This time, they win out the utility bout because Prism is on 23 HP.
Still survives. That's the important part for him. We saw how well, what was it, Closu was able to make use of his low health. A little harder to do on T side, but you could still create space. Might even tank an ult bullet that your teammate could trade. Whether or not that'll all be necessary still remains to be seen. I think shoulders exchange inside of the apartment, so Casey backing up. Once again, they're content to play a 4A setup. And once again, there are Molotovs that will greet them on their potential pursuit. A smoke that Innocent can deploy, and Prism finally dealt with. His flank not going to be realized. There will be no second prong to this assault.
The A bomb site has done very well to just not allow the T's to encroach, right? I feel like it's been a very common theme of, like, they've been stuck around brackets now for a good 20 seconds. Kiss the red, the third flashbang that's been flown in too long. But with 3 people there, it's quite hard to get more than 1, and he doesn't. What's Casey doing? He had a great round the last, but he wide swings long, gives up his life, but luckily for him, his defenders, they're good, but not good enough. Virtuoso places himself into a 1 versus 1. He has no util though, so Flay, he's going to have a lot of ground to work with. The issue is, the AWP, not the best in this situation. He's got the pistol out, and Virtuoso, 73 HP. That pistol, unless it's an instant headshot, could take a lot of body shots to kill him. And there comes Flay, not spotted. Nope, never mind. Virtuoso, a 1 versus 3.
I mean, that is great stuff from Virtuoso, but I have words, I have concerns. You're right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Casey out in the open, maybe caught expecting them to start wrapping in through spawn now that there was effectively no defender of it. If you consider it from the perspective of Flay being a sole B defender, he can't do a lot on an AWP, having to hold 2 of the critical avenues of attack on that side of the map. And maybe that's why Casey dislodges himself, but even if that's to be excused, Olymp had to find the trade on the bomb site. Virtuoso, it wasn't super fast, snappy kills. He was a labored spray from both ends, and giving him that opportunity, Virtuoso thrives. He converts that round. Some big mistakes being made here from the Rebels, but it's more important that brazylijski punish them for plays like that.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair though, still, like, it was a 2 versus 1 on the bomb site. Like, I don't know how Virtuoso's got away with getting 2 kills where he's had to very much redirect his aim as well.
Yeah.
But something different from the CT side here, where they've thrown the retake smokes, sorry, the retake utility, didn't do anything off it, and it doesn't actually get as much damage as they would have wanted because Prism's in the God spot boosted up, and oh no, this potentially is just falling apart for Rebels. A double entry for brazylijski. Like, Yumi, that couldn't have been any easier, and they even get a third on a fadeaway. That was such a simple round where they just peaked B.
And all they have to do is chain kills. This was a flow of combat round from brazylijski, and as soon as they kept finding gaps and they kept finding openings, yeah, they're gonna keep rolling with those punches. I think the wind is firmly out of the sails of the Rebels. These have been solid T-side performances thus far from both of our Polish squads, and some interesting decisions on CT, I think, throughout. We knew this map was going to be uncomfortable. We knew it was going to be a little scrappy. I think we saw some nice stuff from brazylijski in using a very meta smoke that blooms inside of mid so frequently. That's how they got all of their aggressive peeks into second mid and found these great counter kills. Made the Rebels uncomfortable on their T-side default. But the Rebels, in their effort to save, only Casey escapes. And we get closer and closer to a potential finish from brazylijski on the map. They don't play versus Rebels' pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, played for even the for the Rebels is a bit of a strong term, but no, I completely agree with you. Like, this is, for me, as I will reiterate the point I made and I stand by it. When it was 7-4, I think it could have ended 8-4. brazylijski actually had a really nice round at the end of the half. That made me believe a little bit more, so I was quite surprised of what I was seeing. But Rebels had a really good T half, and this CT half, they've had the one round they've won. It was a beautiful round. Like, it was such good utility placed, but every other round, you can't really speak on that same... you can't speak to them in that same light.
Yeah, I think that one round as well that the Rebels did win was... I mean, the 6th player coming
10
into
seconds left,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. brazylijski went for an unideal position because they'd run out of time. It had forced their hand. Unforced errors, but now brazylijski are the ones making and calling all the shots. Quick kill in Boiler, and Kisarek trying to hold in from cold, but he gets overrun. 3-on-3 and Polo being chased down, but he doesn't have the bomb. They just want this AWP out of his hands. They want to make it a 2-on-2. And now that Innocent has his hands on this big green, I mean, the Rebels have a buy waiting around the corner. They should try for this.
There's a world, but having the AWP is quite a rough weapon to be retaking with. There are 2 rifles down. He could upgrade to the AK. This Molotov exposed himself to throw it, peeking aggressively in a missed shot. That was their opportunity to succeed. Now Virtuoso, the new lease on life, isn't going to get the frag, but he sets up Cluso for a double with the Rebels. What they've just done is they've just given away map point.
Yeah, I mean, a very expensive round from the brazylijski side, considering that it was a low buy. Rebels prospects weren't too high. They tried to get aggressive, but they missed the mark. And sure, it comes down to a one-on-one at the end, but there was a real fighting chance for the Rebels to somehow steal that away. You need 4...
Innocent hit the shot.
Yeah, you need Innocent to hit that shot, and now you need 4 rounds straight here from the Rebels to at least force us into an overtime. This map was a bit of a question mark, and now we're getting some answers, and we don't have to be happy about them. I think Rebels are a little displeased. Innocent already falling in from long, and this opens up a myriad of opportunity.
Yeah, look at this. Swizz catching off the rotation. There's the first. Won't even go for the second. Flay on the AWP does at least achieve some sort of revenge, but I think it's going to be very short-lived. The A bomb site, it's capitulated. 3 players starting towards that B bomb site. It's not the best call for the Rebels side, and brazylijski seem to have taken advantage of this. 4 versus 2. There's not a single kit in play. Kisserect just walks into the Molotov. He's given away his position. A nice smoke towards Pit does neutralize Prism's position, but in a swift flurry, you blink and you miss it. brazylijski Luz, for their first time ever playing this map, have won it.
Yeah, it used to be their permaban, and they didn't think it would be possible the Rebels would decide to pick into this map, and they had concocted and cooked up something on that T side. Since entering that second half, they concede only 1 round, and I have to say, I am surprised with how well brazylijski Luz played. I was somewhat familiar with their game, but not on Inferno, and so I pay my respects. The Rebels, they fell into a trap.
Yeah, and I'm almost, like, I still don't know if it's the fact that brazylijski Luz are good on Inferno, because there was a lot of times where you just had very simple mistakes from Rebels. So I still think there's definitely a point there where they've gone for this counter pick, but they're not even comfortable on it themselves. And I think Rebels have played themselves in some weird 4D chess game. And Mirage being next, it did go to 3 overtimes. These guys play it together. And obviously, Sparrow was standing in for SNX when there was their replacement. But brazylijski Luz, they've had a really legitimately good form on this map, and Rebels, they haven't on the other duality.
Yeah, I think if we wanted to see this happen, it had to pull through on some of their star players, and one of our players to watch on the Rebels side just didn't really have the impact I was hoping for when he got into the server. You know, we were harping on Polo, given his statistics and his numbers have not looked too keen or too great since he's been on this brazylijski Luz side, but maybe we should have focused attention on the other AWPer, because where was Flay?
I mean, Polo didn't exactly have a great game either. Like, he went 5-1 within the first 2 rounds, ended the game 9-11, so didn't exactly have the greatest of games himself. Like, he obviously had that really big high impact round with the Scout. You know, that's because they won the second round, and he did obviously give them a massive momentum booster in those early stages of the Cities Either Inferno. But overall, it's like Virtuoso, that 1 versus 3, perfection. Like, that was an amazing clutch. And overall, Swizz, you know, there was some mistakes, same with Prism and Closu, but I think overall they always made up for their mistakes.
Yeah, I feel like Rebels went in with a bit of a gamble on their map, and it has not panned out, so I do fear what awaits us in that second map. But before we get there, we're gonna have to throw ourselves to a break. When we're back, it's Mirage between these 2 poles. Welcome back to the European ESL Challenger League Season 47. We're in our second map between Rebels and brazylijski, the Brazilian chill. It's two Poles that battle it out to find out whether or not they can make it through into those playoffs. We find ourselves in this mid group, and I'm not alone in my journey. I've been accompanied by Grimmy for most of today, as well as that first map as well. It was a little all over the place. I don't think anyone really understood that how to play Inferno to the degree that Rebels pick it in a series.
I mean, it was almost expected on paper, just having you take Inferno out of the equation. Polish derby. It's always going to be a little bit messy. It's always going to be a little bit exciting. That's what happened. But then you throw in Inferno into the mixture, where you have a map that, firstly, brazylijski have never actually recorded an official on it. You've got Rebels who have played 3 on it recently and have had beyond, like, success is not even a word, like, not even anything. Sorry, 4 on it recently. Yeah, 3 and now counting 4 brazylijski. Well, they've been dominated by the likes of alternate attacks. And new alternate attacks, beating you 13-2 on a map is not something you should be, that's nothing that should be picking into it next, rather. And yeah, it was very messy. There were elements and glimpses from both sides of legitimately very good Counter-Strike on Inferno. But I think for Rebels, that really dried out when we went on to the second half. They seemingly used everything on that T side. And then we went on to the CT side. They had one really nice round that was on the basis that brazylijski left it until 10 seconds to plant the bomb on the A bomb site. But apart from that, it was flawless. And now, the underdogs, they head on to their map pick, something they're very favored on.
Yeah, and I think in terms of firepower and the form that we saw from the brazylijski side, I think everybody felt a little bit more activated. You know, we had some great rounds from Swizz, from Virtuoso, from Closu. Prism had a round where we had a multi-kill. And even though Polo, I think Bolo and Flay both contributed about equal amounts to the server. Alping didn't seem to be the main focus. It was a lot about the rifle play on that map. I do fear for the Rebels, because I think form-wise, brazylijski have the edge. I think, even looking at the map history for these squads, they're picking into Mirage very confident, and I think it was very questionable the way this has gone for the Rebels. And I know that they're going through a few changes, you know, with Innocent coming in, and, you know, even the implementation of Kisarek is fairly new. And for them, they need to be able to hit the ground running. And for them to take a risk like this when playoffs is so close and within their grasp, it's a little questionable. I don't know that this was the right time to diverge from what has been comfortable for the Rebels so far this season.
Yeah, and kind of building upon that further, you look at you look at the Rebels and you say that they've got a lot more on the line, because they are a team that should be winning this. They're a team that maybe should be making a deeper run in this ESL Challenger event because of their form at Katowice, you know, their invite to ESL Challenger Melbourne. Like, they've got a little bit more going on behind them. And brazylijski, for the second time in this season, are looking to dethrone these Polish boys. And we almost start the conversation of, okay, are Rebels even... It's weird when you say best team in Poland, because obviously ENCE are, but like best in the terms of the tier 2 stage. Are we even having the conversation anymore that Rebels are the second best in that tier?
Yeah, I guess it's a real question mark as to whether or not they can properly hold or retain that title. You know, we have some domestic tournaments still taking place within the Polish region, but we don't have the same, I guess, structure, the same way that you know, the ESL Prem in the UK is no longer a thing. The Polish division is not active as far as I'm aware as well.
National championships all got like...
Yeah, I mean, they got axed, and it didn't feel like we were able to properly develop those local teams into those fully fledged rosters that we were kind of hoping for. That was the springboard that we were anticipating. You know, we had occasions where Big Academy were qualifying to Cologne over Big themselves, and then Big get the invite because they pick up the Academy team. It's all a bit all over the place. The concept nice, but it didn't always get the results that we were looking for. And so now it's a little harder to gauge in some respects which of these teams is the best team in Poland. brazylijski is making a solid case and already jumping straight into into this pistol. A T-side start over to B, but they're losing out on some of these opening trades. A very successful defense over at B. Olymp finding a double, and there's more where that came from, but Prism answers back. That could have gone very scary very quickly. Rebels hold on.
Yeah, I mean, there were some nice shots from... Ooh, nice movement, Casey. But, yeah, there were some nice shots from the brazylijski side, but I felt like the Rebels had such a nice crossfire, and they actually played that one really well, with Kiseret giving good coverage to Olymp, and Olymp just carrying around Truck, with ultimately Innocent actually getting that first pick. So, flashbangs, don't even know if there were any. I'm pretty sure that was just a 5-man, like, full frontal attack. But Rebels, a good start on their opponent's map pick. Similar to last game, however.
Ooh, a tag onto Innocent at the start of this round is subpar. Not ideal. Wonder whether or not he's going to be able to give that rifle over to someone else so that they can feel a bit more confident in the fight they take. So some great work from Polo on the scout. And then things kind of petered out for him. It helped them get some breathing room in the first half of Inferno. Like you said, you've seen the force buy work out for brazylijski. Could certainly happen here again as well. And you can see they're a little fearful to take these long-ranged fights. They know this scout is in play. They've conceded mid-control. That offers up a whole world of possibility here for brazylijski, so they coordinate themselves the right way. Smoke window, top con as well. It's going to be a B-side finish.
Yeah, I was going to say, they seem to be coordinating themselves up short, and that's a good trade. The trades are successful. They've also done it without taking too much damage on the other players. Innocent already 30 HP from his earlier interaction in middle, but the bomb gets dropped as it's rotating towards the bomb site. However, damage mitigated as Innocent does get killed by the scout. Flay equally tagged up. And as he's jumping out the window, Clusu nails him, and history repeats itself.
Yeah, Polo, once again, finding a lot of value out of that scout. Some very successful tags, bagging them, and creating this space for them to secure safety in a plant. Some really nice work. Kept pressure applied. Rebels were fearful that it could happen again, and in that fear, they actually give up probably too much space to brazylijski.
Yeah, the fact that you're coming in from short, and there was like Tech 9 gonna be one Galil, and you go 1-for-1 on the B site, like neither of the B players played in any sort of cohesion. It was very individualistic, and Rebels were able to take, oh no, sorry, the brazylijski side were able to take that apart perfectly. And they're calm right now. They've got that Brazilian blood in them, and they look to be going towards the A bomb site already, coming up from Connector. They just rake through the smoke. They're going to be rudely awakened. I was going to say rudely awakened. No, there's a perfect Molotov that lands in the underpass. Short, sandwich gets cleared, and one by one, like flies, they drop.
Yeah, they even blew open that smoke that was supposed to give a little bit more room for that player under Balk. brazylijski is not missing the beats. Sure, they move into the stack, but they don't lose a soul in their venture. Really well handled. Man, it is quite the surprise that this has happened now 2 times over. The Rebels are not going to be feeling too hot about the way that they're sort of remanaging themselves. You know, this is obviously a bit of a experiment, and maybe, like I said before, we're maybe catching them at the start of a metamorphosis. But when you're in the cocoon, you're pretty vulnerable to potential predators. Right now, it looks like the brazylijski side a little bit further, more mature, and maybe they'll hit that same roadblock at a certain point that the Rebels had. But then they plateaued and they needed a bit more experience. I think that's part of the philosophy. But liking what they're putting down as of right now when we're in this Polish bout.
I mean, look, they've had a flawless 2 rounds. Like, that's a pretty good result to be having, even up against like ecos and a lower buy.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't had any damage inflicted whatsoever onto them, and it's rare you sometimes see them go, yeah, let's drop those Mac 10s and actually purchase up. Oh no, they're just shifting them around. Oh no, they have actually brought up 1 AK, okay. But Swizz still optionally choosing to hold on to that Mac 10. Are they just going to throw him fast pace somewhere on the map? He's already heading towards the B bomb site with 4 players, so I think, Yumi, this could be a quite fast attack.
It's looking like it's going to develop that way for sure. Swizz with that Mac 10 up close. Olymp does make a step on his approach, but I imagine the sound of the smoke blooming would have covered. But he'll play close. And they did all invest in head armor, bar Innocent, understanding that there were still Galils and SMGs available here for brazylijski as hell, and M4 as well. So they are missing out on some of the extra utility that can be afforded by cutting costs.
There's a Molo in hand. I think Cluso is literally wielding Molotov right now. Yep, lands on Olymp. Okay, bye-bye. Grenades as well. He gets exploded, and there's no one on that B-bomb site. Casey, he's on short. Yumi, is this legitimately a save right now? Casey's already dead on short. Like, Innocent's so aggressed. Do they just save here? Now they have to, because Swizz with the Mac 10 makes it work with the player that had no head armor.
He did just shoot him in the body the whole time, but it is...
Right, okay. Yeah, it looked cool. It was a good... It worked, though.
It absolutely did. Closed that gap very rapidly, and Innocent didn't stand much of a chance. I think they were toying with the idea of a save. If Innocent got some success, they could have bounded back in, but they won't get away with any of their rifles. Free upgrades galore here for brazylijski. The fact they even bought an AK, not even truly necessary... They could have taken those weapons away and upgraded via the rebels. Maybe Virtuosos.
They haven't lost someone in 3 rounds.
Yeah, they're not dying. Not for a lack of trying.
No, that's... Yeah, like, they're also playing quite aggressively. They're playing quite explosive. But, like, that's such a great... Like, that's such a fantastic util set as well.
Yeah.
On the player that's playing Balcony, like, I accidentally cut you off, but I was like, I see Cluso's holding a Molotov, and I see someone else is holding a grenade. They're dead.
Yeah, they had a great read on Olymp's position. Maybe they did hear that step in the apartments. And they're expecting some of these more aggro plays as well from the Rebels. Only 6 rounds in, but already some signs of some desperation. Nice shot from Innocent. Does floor these players at Connector, and where he's good for 1, he's good for 2. Close to finally dealing with him. Man advantage held here for brazylijski, but Casey can't equalize. And Olymp segmented by the flames. Now, there are AKs on his path from Con, and it's freshly smoked, but they are very well aware. Closu's cut him off. There's no escape. Olymp's trapped. And hounded down. Surrounded and found.
In also just another really good round from brazylijski, where they finally do lose players, you know. Hurrah, someone died. But yeah, look, like, the money is so good. These rounds being played out very well. It's what's gonna be interesting is seeing them play more of a consistent default now. Obviously, we've seen them like play these set rounds, I think, more often than one. Rebels, they finally got an AWP. As we've said, because no one's dying, Rebels just aren't really getting any kills. It's going to be interesting to see if the individuals can step up. And once again, our player to watch in this series, he's 1 in 6, and he's the first player to die.
Polo and Closu haven't died since the pistol round. Shrouded by some level of immortality or shielding, they continue to perform and continue to be a thorn in the side here, the Rebels. And you're right on. Maybe we picked the wrong player to watch, because now that we're watching him, I'm not liking what's happening. Like getting an uber close-up and realizing that, yeah, I've got a couple blemishes. Get that camera away from me.
But no, I think that's a missed smoke right there.
Yep.
They're gonna have to replenish it. Who's smoked? Okay, I was gonna say 2 people pulled out smokes there, but it's actually Cluso, so there's no miscommunication. But that does give information there's 100% someone towards middle for the Rebels gaming side. But because they're in this 4 versus 5, they're going to have to split apart. And that's exactly what's going to happen. This connector smoke almost does just further prove that there is potentially a play towards the B bomb site.
What?
Virtuoso though! I was about to say he's got a kill dead to rights. He got boosted up into window. It was a perfect play, but no, Innocent gets 2 kills before he's felled. However, the damage has been done, and Casey doing what Flay couldn't do with the AWP, but Polo doesn't seem to understand that Casey's right around the corner. And I don't know how Rebels have won that round, but they have.
Oh, that's a major blunder, major mistake there from Virtuoso, because you're right. He held the keys to the kingdom. Get that kill towards jungle. His teammates can converge on that A bomb site, can get up con safely, and he's able to section off the rotates, but he switches away. I don't know if that's a scroll or a quick switch or what. But Virtuoso, he needed that frag, and the whole round crumbled like a Jenga tower. Straight away, fast A play, trying to simplify here on the brazylijski side. Kisarek grenaded, completely bombarded, and out of this round. Next to fight is Innocent, a top con smoke that makes it hard for his teammates to reinforce from short or mid, so they have to rotate through spawn. And now he's given up his position. The Swizz is down, and Polo already low. Virtuoso's back, his behind. It's peppered up, but it's not a frag. Rebels 4-on-4, only for a moment. Innocent does find that kill in response, and they are finding it in a flurry. It's as though it was contentious up until brazylijski got that plant down. Then suddenly they fall like flies.
I was kind of noticing as well. I was like, I think when the plant went down, there was a flash, smoke, and a nade, and the smoke went towards top connector, which wasn't really the worry. The worry was, I think, more centered around CT. I don't even know if the flashbang was propelled, and the nade wasn't. So the big lack of utility in the end game for brazylijski wasn't like they didn't have the money. Like, they had the utility to come into the round, but that's Rebels stringing 2 rounds together, which could have been, I think, an issue with how brazylijski were playing. You know, it was so well. Now Rebels, they've actually starting to get a footing into this game, and it all comes down to what, AC not dying, right, in jungle.
Yeah, I think it was Casey.
Was it Olymp in jungle? Whoever didn't die.
Yeah.
Virtuoso whiffed. That's all I remember.
Yeah, whiffed, switched. I don't know how you want to call it, but
quick switch.
Yeah, he did not have the gun ready to shoot more than 1 bullet.
He pressed his like smoke key or whatever. But okay, that's a little bit better. 3 AWPers on the server at the beginning. Now there's only 1. Flay rotating in from Market alongside Innocent, but this B offensive has worked out really well. You've had both Casey and Olymp just caught with their pants down, and now there goes the rotations. Innocent, he does have support from Kisarek, so the rotations are continuously there. Innocent still alive somehow. Everyone around him is dying. Surely they put him to bed, and Virtuoso makes up for his previous mistakes.
Yeah, you had to really get Innocent some support. He tried his best to get a foothold back on that B bomb site before that plant went down, and he fired off shots. They should have known he was there. He was still catching people off guard, and all his rotates, all his help, dying behind him. Had one of them come away with a frag that could have been Rebels back in the round, but brazylijski, it's not even, you know, this execute where they're just out-utilitying, putting good utility in good spots. It was simply run in, fight into the apartments, and they just are able to find isolated fight after isolated fight. This time Innocent, trying to take matters into his own hands, does escape with his frag. 7 HP and Polo not punishing. Rebels will hold a man advantage.
Not the way that I thought they'd get the opening frag in that round, but I guess it works out fine. I think Innocent drops over the the A1S, and he'll be put onto the SMG, which, fair enough, you're on 7 HP, understandable. But brazylijski, they've had a lot of ease at times breaking onto these bomb sites. Something that I did notice on Inferno, and it seems to be a similar theme here, but I don't think we've quite seen them in a position where a minute's left on the clock. They've got that man disadvantage. It's like, okay, so what do they do with this now? They're playing it very slow, but the bomb, it's heading over towards the B bomb site. And I can understand why they go there, because they've had an insane amount of success. And Prism, well, he's going to be sent up short, but Flay is here alongside Ola.
Once again, top con smoke, so no help coming from that A bomb site. Olymp has to perform, and he'll find his kills. Flay alongside him, covering those apartments. And now Casey springs into action as well, flushing out players, getting off, trying to converge on the B bomb site. Not a single casualty, not a loss of life there from the Rebels. It was sparked by Innocent, but then he started to go for information plays. With his 7 HP that remained, he wanted to serve as a survey beacon or some kind of sentry tower, but not even needed. brazylijski, like you said, falling in on to old habits. They die hard on B.
I mean, that's an awful round from brazylijski. Like, Prism just is out of short so early. Like, he's by himself. He should be more of a late round character. But no, he gets dealt with pretty much instantly. And then just one by one, they die in apartments. Like, they lose the opening kill, and it just all goes so wrong. Like, that's a really, really poor round from them. And now Rebels, they've got a little bit of a swagger around them. Olymp, he's pushing towards B apartments. He's cleared out all of that space. You're kind of giving up middle. You're allowing 3 players to be settled towards A. Kisserite, well, he does get flashed in towards ramp, but it's a little bit too early. The execute is coming, and the fact that he's still alive is very impressive, but walking the Molotov, there's a lot of HP and also reveals his position. Now, this is the brazylijski Luz that we saw at the start of the map, because they've cracked open this A bomb site like a nuts.
And doing so well in finding these kills around the smokes as well. Innocent, he does have a fast timing for this flank, but Polo's holding for it. Around the corner is Prism, very close by to that ramp, so can pick up responsibilities. A flash lined up, but Olymp dodges, but Prism runs him down, even while blind. That AK only needs to hit one more shot, and those bullets got to go somewhere. Innocent trying his hand at a 1-on-3, down to 2. A kit that can be recovered en route, but no smoke to try and cover his defuse. Knows he has to find this isolated fight. Virtuoso floored, but Innocent, he's running low on time, and he doesn't have enough time for the defuse. It's 4 from Innocent, but that's simply not enough. Had to find those kills faster. brazylijski this time, an A-side finish.
I mean, like, what an effort, right? You can't put him down whatsoever. That was a fantastic try at clutching, but I guess the operative word is the attempt, right? Like, he didn't actually win it out. If he did, that would have made this half so much more contestable. But now I think we actually have a tech pause, so we can mull over some of the proceedings that have come on. brazylijski, that was a really good opener. That was just a really clean round, where unfortunately Kisserite, who's had a bit of a rough game, gets sent in towards ramp as the smokes get thrown, and I think that's really poor timing as well. Like, you see 3 smokes being thrown, and you try go for this pick instantly, then no one was ready whatsoever to greet that flashbang. And then as well, like, lovely Molotov to go under Palace. He just couldn't go anywhere. And in a blink of an eye, there were 2 kills. And then a third was found when the smoke got naded. So you just had this wonderful entry from brazylijski. And even though they probably could have had quite a dominant half, I think if they still end it, even 7-5 on the T side, that's more than fine from my perspective.
Yeah, I think watching it from Kisserite's point of view was actually quite enjoyable, from the sense of you understood that everywhere he went, it felt like he was engaged in some kind of compounding problem. A Molotov inside of the underbalk for him to be fully flashed, for his teammates to then get naded. I think, you know, that turn of events, it felt like it was just domino after domino, and there were just issues on the site hold itself. But after sparking some interest over at A, now it's back to B, and Olymp, he tried to mantle into those apartments. He realizes that they're coming his way. A good first kill from Olymp, and he can't quite track down the second. He called for reinforcements quick, but they don't get there in time.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's so hard. However, this is a really bad smoke from Polo. It gives Casey so much room to work with. He's going to be able to sneak his way out, and it also completely isolates Prism, so he can't even fight these individuals. But Virtuoso takes matters into his own hand, and speaking of Prism, he's even going to be finding a frag. Also, it's Cluso. But yeah, overall, lovely end of the half here for brazylijski. Flay is getting some good damage here. He's going to be doubling his kills in the final rounds. But the bomb is too far ticked. There is no kit. It's 8 rounds. And this is looking like a 2-0.
A rematch from Group C. We find ourselves in the mid-seed bracket to find out whether or not we have these teams continue within to the playoffs. Right now, brazylijski leading by 1 map by stealing away Rebels' pick in Inferno. I say steal, but it was hard fought. But now with an advantage moving into CT, it looks like it could be 2-0, and Polo already ripping heads.
Marco, Polo, he responds, and here they come. Firstly, he does actually finally get denied. They finally put him down, and ooh, a bit of awkwardness from Swizz and Virtuoso. Not what you'd quite want from the B defenders. It was a 3 versus 5, so obviously not fantastic, but you've already got the opening kill, and that's it. That's all you can write home about.
Yeah, I was really feeling that row of momentum potentially for Polo and for that
great shot.
Yeah, for that hold to really work out for them, but then they just get absolutely demolished. So
yeah,
typing up the wrong squad. Rebels trying to bounce back on this map. And very important, very nice scaling onto that site. No one waited around, no one held up the troops, understood what their job was and the space they had to take, and they make those fights very uncomfortable for those CT pistols. Not much drama in this pistol round. Aside from the fact that brazylijski they lose the kit that they were trying to retain.
Yeah, it would have been nice, but I would love to see them go for a force buy, because that's kind of worked for them in the past. I mean, it always has worked for them, isn't it?
Like now they're in a lead, comfortable.
That's kind of been their thing, because they've lost. They even lost the first pistol round and instantly rebutted, and so yeah, they've lost 3 out of the 4 pistol rounds, and 2 of them they've had a rebuttal. This could be a 3 for 3 rebuttaling, winning the second round, which is like, I think there's like a 35% chance for that to happen on the CT side. So that's quite impressive in itself. brazylijski, you never know. This could be their thing. Polo's got the scout out. You know what he does with that.
Who needs pistol rounds when you win second rounds consistently? Nice Molotov to the end of the apartments, but Virtuoso has the smoke. Olin's found a kill, however, and so one of the players that look to reinforce this B-bomb site already dealt with. Polo has been very consistent on the scout.
But look, innocent.
But it's not even him that finds the kill and mark it. It's Closu that covers. And they know Virtuoso's in apps. They know he's close. He never dropped. They wait the smoke. And they had to wait 20 seconds to do it, but they finally flush him out. Man advantage for Rebels. brazylijski is pulling the plug.
I think this is a good save. I think if there was any way that they were going to fully... You could actually kind of tell they weren't fully committing on the basis that Virtuoso gets kind of left out to dry. I think if they were fully committing, they would have put a lot more energy into trying to save him and try and make the players work around him. But the save doesn't even work. Innocent, I was going to kind of call upon him and say he had a great first half. He was maybe the one player on Rebels that was striking some sort of fear into the brazylijski side. And just right there, he drops a scout, he drops the AK, he collects himself some extra money. Fantastic. All of a sudden, this next round isn't dangerous whatsoever, and you've got most likely a 1-round game on our hands.
Yeah, definitely showing his veterancy. I think understanding that his teammates were losing some confidence, and Innocents come in and I'm the oldest guy on this squad. I'm the in-game leader. I'm fragging out. You can do it too.
Oldest guy on the server. Well, Sparrow, I don't know who's older, but there's, you know, it's close.
Yeah. I think Spiro might be slightly older. A year or two, give or take. They do not succeed. Prism the only one with the saved pistol and armor that comes coupled with it. And them understanding that there was likely pistols to deal with. Olymp, once again, the probe, will fully clear and flush out the fact that, hey, B's open. Let's send the bomb over this way.
Yo, guys. Yeah, what's guys? We found them in middle. And unfortunately, Rebels aren't going to have that same flawless 3 rounds in a row. But they will avoid the Zeus. So, swings and roundabouts.
I don't know if Swizz is scared that he's been seen.
Well, he's got a kill. So, I think... Oh, no. He hit the first bullet headshot. But, to be fair... I don't think it would have mattered too much if that was the Mac 10 regardless. So even if Olymp had died, you know, you're not going to be too, you know, you're not going to be rejoicing. I guess the one thing is that you've given him the extra money, you've let him survive, so there's not that necessity to repurchase. But here we go. First gun round. brazylijski Luz, are they going to hold onto their lead or are they going to relinquish it? Polo, he picks up the AWP and once again isn't tested by Flay, which has been quite a consistent theme, I would like to say, this whole series.
Yeah, both AWP are struggling to find form. It has been rifle-centered, but it's a great nade. Yeah, Innocent and Casey brought down to half HP, and Innocent even chalked to lower than that. So on that opening round of utility, just trying to throw some presence in mid. They don't commit bodies, they commit HEs, but they're very well placed.
I mean, there is a wasted smoke there by, I think it was Virtuoso who threw it out of the two connected players. You can see that Casey does just go through, and oh my god, both of them walk through the smoke. Virtuoso falls. Casey, he's circled though. He doesn't realize that Prism's right behind him, so that is a good trade. And now there are still two players very low, Innocent and Flay. But oh, what? Cluso just knocks Innocent out of the server, running, spamming at ramp, somehow hits the headshot. It is a 3 versus 3 though. Swizz has fallen. Bomb not being able to be planted. Spam connects. Nade connects. Still though a 2 versus 2. Here comes the second nade. Shrapnel flying everywhere. It's a war zone, but Kisserect still alive. Searching for the open CT, but even gets the player in connector. Hold on a second. Polo. It's crazy. It's wacky, but the AWP reigns supreme.
It's so back and forth. A round that swings between pendulums and HEs.
I don't know.
I couldn't tell how it was going to pan out. Players low, people getting bombarded. So many well-placed bits of utility here for brazylijski Luz, and Polo able to tie the bow on the top of what is a very mangled package, but hey, it's a gift that brazylijski Luz will have and receive with open arms. They do finally break in with the CT round, and all of it really stemming off of some good util.
Yeah, no, that was a that was a round. That was one of the rounds. Sure, look, we're here. Polo, he's got a really good opener actually, getting very aggressive. He had support, but from afar. That's a really nice opening kill, and it does just set the tone, a dulcet tone that is, for the Rebels side. brazylijski Luz. I feel like my pronunciation is slowly deteriorating. Yeah, like throughout the series. Like I really had it at the beginning. But regardless, the CT side, like look what they've done. Rebels have a minute left on the clock and they've done nothing. Momentum stunted.
Yeah, I think they're worried as well about the potential of someone getting aggressive on brazylijski Luz. That's what sparked so much interest in their CT side of Inferno. I think that on Mirage, they've been playing more contained, more standard. They're still picking them apart. Great second frag in from Polo. Had to hit on a quick reaction, but Flay will finally punish a reswing. Still manageable, still workable. These players on the B bomb site, only with SMGs and Innocence on a flank. A timing miss. They'll know that there's a possibility, and it's exposed. Sitting underneath the apartments, they find out Innocent's flank, but now Olymp trying his best to get a handle on this bomb site, and he succeeds for his 2. Equal numbers, 10 seconds, and punching in those digits, but Prism, he's got the defender. It's on Flay to clutch up, and he hits the quickscope. Coming in from the apartments, is it read by Flay? He's pushing forward and not receiving any resistance. No signs of life. No noise made from Closu. But now making steps on top of Van. Flay knows what's up, but he doesn't read the fact he's getting wrapped in from bench and he can't adapt in time. So surefire that Closu would jump on the package, but he gets wrapped instead. Another clutch goes the way of brazylijski Luz.
I mean, that was a situation that, from my perspective, never even should have got down to a 1 versus 1. Why is Prism jumping out of market after the bomb has been planted to try and fight for the AWP, to try and fight for the kill. Cluso was so far away. It's such an unnecessary reason to give up your advantage, and it puts Cluso in such a damning position. Flay plays that round perfectly because he takes advantage of people over-peaking. Obviously, Polo had a great round. We can't take it away from him. However, he almost lost on the round. He over-peaks in connector. He gives up that kill to the T side and allows them to get onto that B bomb side. Unfortunately, the flank from Innocent doesn't work out. But how does Olim get 2? How's that happened? Why has that happened? And then the fact that Flay is able to put it into the 1 versus 1 because people over-aggressing. The CT side potentially wanting to end this game a little bit too fast, and I think it's very clearly exhibited in that last round. They're lucky to have won that.
Yeah, I think so as well. But on the inverse as well, it did keep Flay on the bomb site. The fact that Prism just kept pushing forward in a weird way.
Oh man, don't try justifying
No, in a weird way.
Come on.
It's the idea that he wouldn't make that play if he didn't have a teammate behind him, and Flay was convinced of that, only for it to not be the case. So
that is okay. I see your point.
There is devil's advocate. I'm just trying to play it there.
However, Rebels charging on towards this B-bomb site. They want to once again go into the fray, and it's good util damage from Swizz. He anchors down Inferno. He anchors down the apartments. It's his. And he's calling his tenants up for rent. They can't pay. They've been evicted. It's 11 rounds.
A very successful B-hold in from brazylijski. Like you're saying, great utility usage, but then as well, just understanding angle management, never being overexposed to the potential of a wrap. This was something that the Rebels found themselves falling foul to several times over. Players getting a smoke towards top connector, a smoked window, and suddenly the B players are having to fight from bench continuously on these long-range short angles. It just leaves yourself so exposed to getting pushed in from both prongs. But brazylijski's tuck, they make use of some lower weaponry, and they succeed where Rebels had their failings. We painted the Rebels as favorites. They have more experience. They've been to bigger events. They've beaten some of the best teams in Poland, and I think, like you said, it's a little weird to call them the best team in Poland when ENCE exist in their current state.
It's a weird way to put it.
Yeah, but they're the worst. They're the best team in Poland, bar ENCE.
Yeah.
But brazylijski looking very solid, pretty well-rounded, and yeah, there have been some fumblings. I think CT sides in general for both squads have not looked the hottest. But they're much earlier in their development stage. They're earlier in the pipeline. I'm sure they've got Prism that's been floating around the Polish scene for quite some time, and Polo as well. Having a couple of chances on Singularity, Illuminar.
I've seen Polo run a lot.
Yeah, these guys are far more experienced. But if we're thinking about just the core of this team in like Swizz, Virtuoso, Closu, these are all young guys that haven't had that same level of exposure. I think Closu was on Singularity Illuminar towards the end as well, but he was these guys were just less documented. So yeah, it's nice to be able to sing some praises at brazylijski. They beat Rebels the last time, but it's been far more convincing in their second outing.
Yeah, look, Rebels have beaten Cloud9 on this map on LAN. They've taken Eternal Fire the distance. And now they're being domed by brazylijski. They're being domed by the Brazilian chill, but they got no chill in this round. Nades fluttering in, singing the sweet song of death, and that's match and series points.
I did not believe we were going to end up in this. I didn't believe we were going to end up on Inferno, in fairness, so everything was a little off-kilter from the very get-go.
CS.
But yeah, these derbies do deliver in being a little hard to predict.
I think the word you're looking for is fantastic.
Yes. Oh, I never said it wasn't fantastic, but unexpected.
You get your entertainment value 100%, but also just good Counter-Strike. Like, this is a lovely play. If there's a flashbang. If there's not, then I'm not too convinced. That's actually using the new CS2s to his advantages. Walks through the smoke. How does he get a kill? Flay is right there. What's happening? How does KC die there? I mean, firstly, I saw Prism doing that. I was like, oh, so he's got a flash coming. No. No. That's no, silly you. Why would you ever think that? He's by himself, but he still gets a frag.
Yeah, a little ridiculous. An independent play, but somehow sandwiched himself between two players for the one. Olymp, a nice boost inside of window, one that Virtuoso was suspicious of, but didn't come out properly clearing for.
He was suspicious of ladder more than the boost, because, you know, like, he understands that they've completely lost mid control. He just didn't expect that to be the place where they've specifically lost mid control. And now we hit the... Yeah, sorry, what was that?
Sorry, crouched in the corner underneath the ladder window. It's not an easy adjustment.
Oh, for sure. But now, on the 40-second mark, we head towards A.
This is the more reinforced site for brazylijski. The Swiss has been holding in the deep apartments on B. And Closu finding his kill. And right into Polo's AWP. It's the two-man hold from what was 4 potential pursuers. brazylijski's close in both maps. 13-7 and 13-8 respectively. They finished this one 2-0.
That is the epitome of just left-right good night. Like, you have a great first shot from the A1S. Yorp then kills the player that's coming in from ramp, which also, may I add, I think I saw Polo just moving to the left, like he just moves his crosshair. He hears the player drop, and that's what gives him the kill. There's a world where the player on ramp maybe comes a little bit later potentially and could have catched the Yorp off guard, but no. Lovely from Polo, and I think it was Swizz on the bomb site as well. Just a lovely left-right good night. There's red on the trigger, and there's red on the mine for brazylijski loose. And the player to watch, not looking too great now, is it?
Yeah, I do kind of wish that we were able to sort of change this from map to map, because after the first one, I was like, oh, maybe we should be looking at somebody else. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great outing. I think if we could have changed it to anybody on the Rebel side, it was probably Innocent as the new addition for in-game leading. I think there were rounds that felt a little disjointed. Some of the setups didn't feel comfortable, and I think that was even sort of symptomatic of what happened on Inferno as well. And it just didn't feel cohesive on the Rebels side, but I think that's part and parcel with, like we were sort of saying throughout this game, domestic derbies are always a little weird and wacky, and people don't know what to expect, so even your more traditional setups sometimes just kind of break down.
Yeah, and we can actually go take a look at the standings as well. We can take a look at the scores on the board, because brazylijski Luz have moved on to the lower bracket round 3, and they'll be facing off against Sangal, who, well, I guess news to me, just beat TSM. So we're seeing teams drop out. Rebels, unfortunately, we're saying goodbye to them alongside TSM.
Yeah, I mean, certainly big fish to have fried. The Sangal project has had many different looks and have gone through many different iterations. So for them, that's a massive win, especially when we're thinking about the prospects of that new project that TSM were trying to form. They got rid of them in 13-2, 13-9. Pretty one-sided showing for the Sangal side. So yeah, I think both teams impressing within this mid-seed development, and so we're 2 games away potentially for either of these teams making it to a spot that ESL Pro League conference, or that conference division where you can potentially get your hands on a spot at Pro League. That's the guarantee of making it into the playoffs. So that's what everybody is fighting for. They want to make it into Pro League. brazylijski, I mean, that could be a great opportunity for them. I'd be honestly very excited for either of those 2 teams to make it.
Yeah, I mean, like, what ESL Challenger does is that there's, you know, it's very hard to get to that stage. So if you do make it, you goddamn earn it, and it's a very long journey if they do want to get there. However, ladies and gentlemen, Yumi, I think it's finally time for us to say goodbye to each other. We've pretty much spent the whole day together. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you to everyone who's watched this game. Well done to brazylijski Luz, and thank you to production. And for us, it's a good night.